Mr. Rubinstein, you've appeared as guest soloist with the Philharmonic Symphony nearly every season, I believe, since 1937. I don't think I've missed a single performance. And yet, your playing of the Rachmaninoff Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini just now marks the first time you've ever broadcast a work of Rachmaninoff with the Philharmonic Symphony. Is that just an accident?
No, not quite an accident. You see, while Rachmaninoff was alive, I was very shy about playing his works. I did that sometimes in Europe, but not in America, because he played so superiorly, so absolutely marvelously. I felt it was not my role to play his works and show them at their best.
Your relation to a good many other composers is really quite different, isn't it? Cases where you've introduced piano works to your audiences. Music of Prokofiev, Simonovsky, Albéniz, Villa-Lobos, must be others.
Well, yes. I have been... That's a quite different question about those two, about those other composers. You see, they were not essentially pianists.
They did all play piano, though, didn't they?
Everybody plays the piano. Everybody in the world plays the piano. But fortunately, not well enough. And those composers were sometimes playing their own works, I don't think quite well enough. So they gave us a chance. And I did introduce most of them. I was very proud of that and very happy to
How did you happen to run into Villa-Lobos originally? Do you recall?
Oh, Villa-Lobos, yes. Well, in Brazil, in early times, he was playing as a very, very poor boy in a silent motion picture house. And I was told that there was this wild genius playing the cello and so on, but that he was composing very original music and so on. I was interested. I went in, heard some of it, and got acquainted with him. And one morning he brought quite a little orchestra to my hotel room. I had even to ask the neighbors to allow to have it played. And I was so impressed that I succeeded in persuading a great patron, I mean a rich man in Brazil, to give him a large sum of money to go to Europe, to produce his works in public, and publish them. And he became famous in 1 or 2 years.
He hadn't been known before that?
Not at all. He was laughed at in Brazil. I was even hissed when I was playing his works for the first time in Rio de Janeiro.
Is that so? Mr. Rubinstein, you also knew Manuel de Falla very well. What's that story about the fire dance, the origin of it?
Well, the origin is very funny. He was a friend of mine. He followed my concerts. I met him as a poor composer, walking around the Madrid streets without any money at all and so on. And one night he took me to a nightclub, to a Madrid nightclub, and told me that a very famous ballerina, gypsy ballerina, the Spanish dancer, Pastora Imperio, she was wonderful, that she was dancing one of his little ballets, which he made specially for her, called Amor Brujo.
Yes.
I was very interested. We spent there the evening, and when she was dancing this little thing, which was very primitive, the typical cabaret performance, I was completely flabbergasted by that one dance. It was a fire dance, and I told him, this is a piano piece. It's born to be a piano piece. He wouldn't believe it. Well, I made a little transcription for it in one day and played it at the next concert, and that brought the house down, I can't tell you. Ever since, I had to play it sometimes 2 and 3 times at Madrid, and that made him famous.
It's enormously popular, of course.
Well, this piece made him famous. In South America, they became so wild over that piece that they wanted to hear everything he has ever written.
He died where, in Argentina?
He died sadly in Argentina about 3 years ago, I think.
And then, Mr. Rubinstein, you had a story you told me the other day about a piece of Ravel that you played for Spanish audiences.
Ah, yes, this is very funny.
Would you?
This is really very funny. I started to play at a concert the Valse Noble and Sentimentale by Ravel, and I was dreading a little bit the reaction of the audience, because I know that they couldn't understand it well. So I asked Falla and other musicians who were with him in the box, to applaud, to give the sign to the audience that it was finished, because it dies out. So they did it, but the audience hated it so much that they hushed them, they just wouldn't let them applaud at all. I became furious because I loved the piece. Well, after the concert was finished, there was great ovations for another piece which I played, Spanish music, something which was extremely popular. I was so furious I wanted to go home. I wouldn't play any encores, I wouldn't bow to the audience, and so forth. But the manager persuaded me to do something for the public, saying, you can't offend the Madrid public. Please go out, bow again, do something, play an encore. See, must I play an encore? All right. I walked out in wild rage and announced, I will play another time the Valse Noble and Sentimental of Ravel. And that started a fight in the hall. You wouldn't believe it. Lots of people, really went into a real fist fight. For 5 years, nobody dared to play one note of Ravel in Spain after that.
And yet today, Valse Noble and Sentimental is in the repertory of nearly every pianist.
Well, of course.
Surely.
Always happens like that.
To change the subject, Mr. Rubinstein, I've been told that since your student days, you've been asked, was it 16,327 times whether you're
statist you are.
whether you're related to Anton Rubinstein. Now, how would you like to give the answer just once more in one word to several million people all at once? Now's your chance.
Well, I'll tell you, as a young boy, I was so infuriated by that question that I wore a cap with the inscription, no, on it.
That's clear enough, I think.
Not the slightest relation between us.
No relation.
No.
Well, I think these same millions of people who heard you say no would like to hear you tell in more than one word, Mr. Rubinstein, about some of the music making that goes on in your own home in Hollywood. Because some of the finest musicians in the country live in California now, don't they?
Well, most of them, apparently. I must tell you a joke which I made myself. One season at Hollywood Bowl, everybody played a soloist. I mean, Rachmaninoff, Horowitz, Heifetz, Iturbi, Sigeti, myself, a few others I can't remember just now, but we all lived there. We all had houses there. So I put it into the mouth of a quiet California housewife, asking another one, how was the Hollywood Bowl season this year? And the other one answered, well, not too bad, considering we had only local talent. You see what I mean?